welcome to this episode of ISV Talks. I'm Carol Livingston, the owner of Dynamics Connnections and your host of ISV Talks. And on this episode, I have two special guests from commercebuild, Jay Newman and Matt Carleo. Hey, welcome, guys.
Hi,
Thanks for
Carol.
having
Thanks
us.
so much.
Well, thanks for joining us today. Can you go ahead and introduce yourselves? Maybe Jay, go ahead and start.
Yeah, fabulous. I'll be happy to, Carol. Thanks so much again. Jay Newman. I've been with commercebuild now coming up on 5 years and have had just an incredible joy of launching into Business Central 3 years ago. My background has been in e-commerce off and on now for 20 plus years. I was fortunate to be at the front row of watching Magento go to the cloud and a lot of things with Shopify, and now getting to do the same thing here in the Microsoft space. And specifically for companies that are interested in an ERP-driven e-commerce, which is what commercebuild specializes in.
Great. Thank you. Matt, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Matt Carleo. I'm a senior account executive here at commercebuild. I've been with the company now for 6 months. That said, I have been working with integrated e-commerce providers for about the last 5 years, 6 years, and then software and technology sales for a little bit more than a decade.
Okay, awesome. So, Jade, maybe tell us about commercebuild. How did the company start? Sounds like you've been in the industry for a while, but tell a little bit about the company history.
Yeah, I'd be delighted to, Carol. commercebuild is a company that was founded in 2006 by Blair Watkins down in New Zealand. Blair had actually been working in building out a business-to-business portal for the likes of McDonald's so that their franchisees could reorder their hamburger buns more effectively than a phone call at the end of the day. And what Blair realized back then was there was an opportunity to do the e-commerce side connected to an ERP system. And the very first one was Sage 300, or back then it was actually known as ACPAC. Since then, we've also done Sage X3, and we've launched into the Business Central space just a few short years ago. One of the exciting things that we're doing is ensuring that the ERP is the center of the universe, meaning that that's really what drives us. Matter of fact, we don't have ability to do a store if it's not connected to an ERP. We're a global company. I think it's super important to provide 24/7 coverage around the globe. And I'm also a fan of having people be able to work in the normal hours. So we start our day in New Zealand and follow the sun all the way around the world to Dubai with people at all points in between.
I gotcha.
Really, our 5-star support is what ultimately people will be so excited about once they join us.
Excellent. Tell us a little bit, Matt, about what's kind of the product. Give us a little more of a description. Jay talked about the product, but I'd like to know a little bit more about what you offer for Dynamics ERPs.
Sure. Yeah, so it's an integrated e-commerce product. We support functionalities for B2B, B2C, customer portals, invoice portals. So a really tightly integrated solution for Business Central, where clients can come to a website, log in, get real-time price, real-time products, real-time availability, make payments for invoices online.
Yeah.
Really very seamless experience for customers.
Is there any industries you specialize or work with?
Sure, yeah, we do a whole heck of a lot for wholesale, manufacturing, and
Okay.
distribution. Those kinds of companies primarily. We've got a big food and beverage vertical, so we do quite a bit with that. Chemicals, we do a lot with a lot of like parts companies. So automotive is another area where some of the unique features that we have baked into our platform really shine for those kinds of clients.
And I would add to it medical devices, which have a whole nother complexity to themselves of who's authorized to actually buy some of the devices that our customers sell. The
Right.
focal point being is customer of ours is really using the ERP to its maximum potential. I like to say that they're an ERP-centric company. So we do have some retailers, particularly in the sporting goods market, that utilize our platform, but they're very centric to an ERP instead of being centric just to a marketing platform. They view it as a direct extension of their team.
Extension. Yeah.
Yeah, really to
Yeah.
eliminate hand keying in orders into an ERP is
Mhm.
what we do.
Yeah, and I heard something at a conference recently. It's like everybody's an e-commerce retailer now, right? Manufacturers are trying to sell direct. You've got direct sellers that trying to manufacture and sell to consumers. So yeah, everybody is being affected by e-commerce in some way or form,
The world of COVID certainly accelerated a lot of things. Right now,
right?
the industry is predicted to actually be bigger than business to consumer. That obviously Amazon is a strong controller of that, and lots of other
Yeah.
aspects. But one of the other things that we're seeing is a generational change of B2B buyers. Lots of
Mm,
folks that actually grew up with the cell phone that are using technology first instead of reaching out via a call or an email to find out information and ultimately make a purchase. It's predicted next year that
yeah.
over 75% of B2B buyers will be of that generation. So we think that our platform is an enabler. Digital transformation is overused, but just an enabler of companies being able to offer more online to their customers as a new way for them to broaden the horizon on potential new customers, as well as making current customers really happy.
Yeah, and in what ways are, partners or customers trying to help their customers with online sales, improve their manufacturing, to selling to direct to consumers and so forth? What ways are they kind of getting into this space?
A lot of times it starts with maybe a customer service organization or a sales organization
Yeah.
that knows they could be a lot more effective if they were doing more proactive work in enabling success for their company with their customers. The,
Yeah.
the process of taking an order, particularly over the phone, is not only somewhat mind consuming, but it also is fraught with errors because a customer may
Yeah.
be describing something and somebody looks at it in an ERP, may not have a complete description versus an end user of our customer's e-commerce platform is going to be able to see, the information that they want to see, videos, products, reviews, you name it, just like a Amazon buying experience would be. And so we're seeing a reduction in the error rate of orders. We're seeing a great
Oh,
reduction in the returns of orders. And
mm,
overall, it's improving the client satisfaction. But
right.
McKinsey study a few years back said there's also a 15% increase in employee satisfaction for the company. People like,
Hmm.
using new technology. And so ours is a platform that does that. And a unique quality we have in the Business Central space is that we're not doing this over the course of a year. Our projects typically are in the 60 to 90-day range. And even our most complex sites with a lot of customizations go online well
Wow.
before the 6-month mark. So that's a piece of what
Fast.
we're focused on, of delivering really great quality, but also timeliness with a
Yeah.
fixed fee and without the normal drag on of over budget and over time.
Hmm. Yeah, and it's great that, they can get up and running pretty quickly. And I like that you have kind of all of these different experiences, B2B, B2C, you've got the retail, you've got portals. Sales reps can look and see status of orders and things too. Can you do all four experiences at the same time, or do they tend to pick one?
Yeah, we've got folks that are doing all four.
Yeah, so because of our unique integration back into Business Central, we can do a lot with personalization. So while businesses will often set their prices in the ERP for their retail, they also might be setting up discounts and different pricing tiers for their B2B clients. Because we're reading from those tables specifically and pulling that through to a website, we can personalize the site not only in just terms and look and feel and branding, but also with the level of data that we're going to be able to provide. So
Gotcha.
while, a retail buyer might be interested in, shopping in a way that sort of speaks to them emotionally, a B2B buyer might be looking for things like safety data sheets. They might be looking for like specifically more
Mm,
detail on individual items that they're looking to purchase. Based on who logs into the site, we can change pretty dramatically the experience for that individual. Yeah.
mhm. Yeah, so you can have a personalized experience as well as sort of just a general web experience too, right? Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Kind of, it sounds like you've been in the channel on the Sage side, so new to Dynamics channel, but what changes have you seen as far as operational challenges or technology challenges over the last several years, Jay? What have you seen?
It's a common factor for almost all companies that finding talent and retaining talent is a key factor that executives think about. And I've seen that becoming even more competitive within the ISV community, within the Dynamics community, within the Sage community. There is a realm of having the opportunity to do things more efficient, and that's, I think, where e-commerce comes into play. But a trend we're seeing is that there are a lot of people that come into the industry and maybe move from an ISV to a VAR partner or vice versa. On our side, one of the qualities that we've done is actually hire some of our customers, when they want to
Oh,
make a career change, and that way we're getting real live intel
oh,
and experience that puts them in the seat much like our prospects are in, and they
yeah.
understand those challenges far better than I do, just being a peddler of software out there.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to say when I was a consultant, like I've been on your side of the table more than mine because I came from business and accounting and finance. So I think it helps, tremendously to have people of those backgrounds and experience in real business roles. What other challenges have you seen? Like I know Business Central is, kind of new on the dynamic side. What is there a reason you went into Business Central versus picking another ERP?
Yeah, we chose Business Central after looking at the sea of different ERPs that we could do. And our number one
Yeah,
criteria was, joining a community, joining where there was a value of partnerships. And Microsoft
right.
certainly does a good job of
Mhm,
that. Not to
you
be
do.
negative, say Oracle, but there are a lot of other of the ERPs where there's a direct selling team and a partner sales team, and there's a conflict of channel. Inside of Dynamics, there doesn't have that conflict of channel with Microsoft. Microsoft's there to support
Mhm,
everyone. As a great
good
publisher,
point.
we also see that inside of the Dynamics community, that the customer that Business Central VARs and partners are finding, span the gamut from an established company that's maybe coming from GP or NAV over to Business Central, all the way down to a company that's moving from QuickBooks, that's outgrown QuickBooks and needing
Oh,
more, not only accounting functionality, but the aspect of operational control with inventory,
yeah.
with the merchandise, with pricing, as Matt said, in different tiers. So we're seeing a wide gamut of things that when you sit back, it's a super complex thing. But we chose Microsoft because it really can be in a partner-centric format, and we're excited to be
Mhm.
here.
It's also going to add that we've also really seen the Business Central platform itself mature tremendously over the last couple of years as well. And yeah, I mean, a lot more partners, former GP partners are moving into Business Central. So, it does feel like there's quite a bit of momentum behind it now. So it's an exciting
Mhm.
place to, as a professional salesperson, it's an exciting place to be selling.
Yeah, right. And it feels like Microsoft has continually added new features and functionality and partnerships. So yeah, it definitely is, maturing and it will continue to, improve for sure.
The Copilot features and
Oh
some of the stuff coming
yeah.
down the pipe there is going to be pretty incredible.
I would actually say that
Yeah.
Microsoft will, in all likelihood, win the business side of AI. Open source ChatGPT is something that a lot of consumers will gravitate towards. But what we're seeing, that even at this early stage, that we were fortunate 3 years ago when we made the decision to move, and since then with a number of new clients coming in, that everyone's excited about the potential for Copilot. It
Yeah.
seems like everyone else is trying to catch up, but I think Microsoft will definitely have the lead.
Yeah, definitely. Tell us a story about maybe a customer you worked with and how you helped them win with your product.
Yeah,
Maybe
I'd be
yeah.
happy to. One of the most exciting ones of recent is a small distributor that is actually selling specialty groceries to a whole variety of both big and small stores.
Okay.
And one of their challenges was that with these specialty groceries, some things that are actually perishable, they were having to staff late into the day and into the evening in order to allow their customers to place orders for delivery the next day. What they were
Mhm.
able to do in launching the store is provide that self-service for their customers to be able to go online, see what's in stock or out of stock, and it's all kept up real time. to be able to place that order. And the beauty of it is the next time a human touches that order is actually when it's out at the warehouse being picked to go into the truck. There's complexities that come with that. So some of the aspects of Inside Business Central, they've got to have, this needs to go into the cool side of the truck. This can go back in the warm side of the truck. And having split orders with, in their instances, 3 different warehouses, it's really revolutionized how they're able to go to market. They've
Oh,
picked up some
yeah.
new customers, which is always exciting. The efficiency that they're seeing, though, is just tremendous in being able to have less of a workday in manually entering orders and more of a workday in making sure they have, the best of produce, the best of consumables or perishables, and other hard to find things that a grocery store will need.
Yeah, that's a good point about like when they're picking that order. I mean, some things need to go in the freezer section, and you don't want your vegetables get frozen, and you don't want your ice cream to melt. So it's
Yeah.
complex. Yeah.
It's little things like that because of our background with Sage, that we've been doing for a long, long time. We were actually in the cloud on our Sage platform starting in 2010. So going to a multi-tenant cloud, having a tenant with Azure, having the chance to have a powerful platform, but makes it really easy for a small company to get trained on
Sure.
and to utilize is a hallmark of what we're doing. We've got lots of other examples as well. One of the ones that was reminiscent for our Canadian clients is, that every vaccine actually across Canada was going through our platform. One
Oh,
distributor of
really?
all vaccines for every pharmacy across Canada was on our platform. And it was something of efficiencies that the only way to order vaccines for pharmacies was online. So that was
Yeah.
a spike of growth that since then has tailed off a little bit. But an enabler that actually in
Yeah.
their public reports are able to share how efficient e-commerce was for their business.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So, what are some of the new things you're looking to introduce to help customers on their journey to the cloud, or just even, to add value to your solutions?
Yeah, there's quite a bit. So we are going to be updating our front end. So moving towards a more headless architecture where we'll be able to have sort of a bring your own content management solution, a commercebuild, where we manage the integration back into the ERP, but yet still maintain a lot of front end design flexibility on the front end. We've signed a couple of really exciting partnerships, and we're working with a few other new ISVs that offer some really complementary services to our applications. We've established partnerships with PIMS and e-procurement companies that are seeing a lot of value, not only bringing e-commerce into their business, but some of these sort of other ancillary products. Yeah, I mean, in terms of like features and functionality, we're looking at some development with AI and bringing in some AI tools to do things like
First,
auto write item descriptions and things along those lines. So yeah, there's some very exciting developments coming.
yeah, can you explain what headless means? Because that may be a headless experience may not mean much to people. What does that mean?
Sure. So, when I think about deploying a new e-commerce website, there's a couple of kind of key pieces. So the first is the content management solution. So this is where you actually kind of code in what the site looks like, not necessarily like the underlying features of the site. So this is where you would manage that. So there are a number of different content management
Mhm.
solutions on the market. So there's Wix and WordPress. I think Squarespace, Shopify has their own proprietary front end written in
Yeah.
Liquid. So with ours, we're talking about bringing in a WordPress front end, which is extremely user friendly, very widely
Okay.
used, and would make it easy for businesses where maybe they don't have any experience with software design. They just want to make, colors and drag and drop, those kinds of features. We'll be bringing that into the platform here.
And one of the exciting things that I just actually learned last night, one of our prospects wanted to have a very complex configurator that they already have built into Business Central, but have that actually come to the web, come to a store. So the power of what their employees can do inside of Business Central could be exposed to their external sales reps, but also even some of their more savvy customers. A simple configurator can come out of the box with our package, something with maybe 100 different SKUs to make up a BOM. In this instance, the starting point is typically 400 to 500 SKUs, all related, all intertwined, with a core offering and then options along the way. And so we're really excited to be working in the ISV community with another partner that is bringing that so that it's extending the functionality of the ERP. What we see with some of our competitors is the inability to do that. The things have to be built twice, once in the ERP and then once in the e-commerce store. And what we're trying to do is really make it so build once and then it is replicated to store or many stores for some of our clients, that they're actually building for different brands, for different showcases of new products. We have one client that's actually doing warehouse product under one brand. Basically, how do I get rid of excess inventory, and a fully separate brand so that they're able to have a B2C and a B2B offer, all managed centrally from the ERP, but both distinctly two different customers.
Yeah, right. And you guys have quite an ecosystem of other add-ons or e-commerce ISVs, right? Like I know you guys have shipping and payment processors and sales tax engines that you work with.
Yeah,
So
we try to be agnostic and try to be responsive to our client. One of the things that we want to do is focus just on that ERP and e-commerce experience, and let a pro make a choice of maybe I'm going to use Avalara versus SureTax, or maybe I'll use this particular partner for some credit card transactions and a different one for others. We want to allow our customers to make that choice, and even if it's something that we don't do, that's where we don't charge an arm and a leg to do any customization. We can easily find that when one customer wants something, there's probably somebody else that will. So what we build is really responsive to the marketplace, and I think it's appreciated.
Yeah, no, definitely. And when you think about e-commerce store or portal, and then you got to connect that with the third parties as well as your ERP, it gets overwhelming. It's like managing multiple systems, and if you can help with simplifying that, that is a great value.
Yeah, we also want to be flexible to our customers. So it's sort of a best of breed approach. There are probably, I can name 6 or 7 different payment service providers kind of off the top of my head, and each has certain benefits and strengths and certain weaknesses. So, when a customer comes to us and says, hey, getting the best rate is most important to me, or the deepest integration is the most important to me, or, having this particular feature set, we're really, really flexible with kind of who we'll work with, or we're not going to white label a solution and then just push that, onto all of our customers.
Yeah, I mean, if they have their favorite, sales tax engine, then, why not partner with them and help facilitate that? So, yeah. So, kind of changing gears a bit, tell us a little bit just about the industry as a whole and any observations from now you guys are familiar with Dynamics, but, even new Dynamics partners you're seeing maybe coming from other ERPs. And how's that going? And what's, kind of the observations from those partners and getting into e-commerce or omni channels?
Yeah, a lot of partners are spreading the horizon of what their teams are consciously competent at
Right?
talking about. What we like to say is that if a partner has the ability to speak to our platform, and look, we've got lots of different competitors out there as well, but just speak to the power of what e-commerce can bring to a company. They're making an operational efficiency change in moving to a new ERP or upgrading to Business Central. But what we like to do is work hand in hand with a partner. Number one rule for us is make the partner look good. Make sure that the partner is enabling their success with their consultants, because a lot of times somebody's going to make a choice of both platforms because they're coming from a legacy environment. And usually you can't really, take an old legacy e-commerce and wire it into Business Central very quickly. We're seeing where the path of resistance being low, we pride ourselves on a really, really good implementation effort, but then ultimately 5-star support is how we're measured. And so we're seeing sometimes larger firms competing, within the realm for business at a very big organization, but all the way down to the smaller shops that are bundling together the best of breed of manufacturing tools, the best of breed of distribution tools to make that choice, that decision, that way to go forward a lot easier, and have a level of assurances as well that the ERP partner has made those choices for them. One of the things that's unique of Business Central and Dynamics compared to Sage is inside the Sage community, we're kind of one of the last ones standing, and it's a more collapsed amount of ISVs. At one count, one of our partners said they had over 250 ISV relationships to manage. That's a mind-boggling number, and I'm sure it's difficult. But we'd prefer to see someone start with e-commerce, and then if we're a good fit, wonderful. But a factor for us really is, let's make sure that what we're doing is not taking away dollars from an ERP implementation.
Yeah, that's a good point. And, Matt, with your experience coming from e-commerce too, I know that, there's definitely a gap. And, people realize that they can expand their markets that they're in. Like maybe they're used to selling one way, but now this opens up multiple ways to reach a customer. So what have you
Great.
seen?
Actually, just recently, so, as a sales rep, I do a lot of outbound sales motion here, trying to find customers. And I recently came across a customer where on LinkedIn, I noticed there was an ERP partner who was following that page. So I reached out to the ERP partner. They said, oh, no, we had sold them CE, but it looks like they're looking at Business Central. We were all able to kind of get on a call and we were identifying opportunities for a ERP partner, through some proactive outreach. And what we found is that when we sell together, every metric that we evaluate a sale goes up. We sell for more MRR, we sell the deal much quicker. They stay with our respective platforms for a lot longer. Implementations go smoother because, with particularly an integrated e-commerce solution, the data that is in the ERP is going to be what powers the web store. So making sure that, when we're doing imports of 20-year-old GP data, that there is some cleanliness to it certainly helps. So yeah, I mean, what we found is when we sell as a team, we go to them and are solutioning for, all of these other factors, that the outcomes are much better for our clients.
Yeah, but I just think this concept of being able to expand the channels as a business that you sell into, no matter what business you're in, that's really interesting. And working together with the partner is always the best, right? They know, and they're the trusted advisor for their clients. And also they're kind of multiplying your sales force too, right? They're helping you identify customers that can benefit from working with you. So any perspectives about how customers are trying to improve their operational efficiencies and maybe move along on that digital transformation journey?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that customers are always looking at, always evaluating. An aspect that we're seeing a lot is not just that notion of being able to sell online directly, but with the advent of where Amazon is going into the B2B space, maybe using Amazon as a starting point to get some sales going, direct to consumer upon the product, but also actually taking a lot of the wealth of knowledge that Amazon has, and it's a wonderful platform to do a lot of education on. The downside of Amazon is they take a relatively high percent of the sale, anywhere from 8% to 30% of the sale goes into Jeff Bezos's pockets. Yeah, we think kind of the opposite, and it's resonating with the customers of, there's enough costs that are going into distributing products, manufacturing products, competing with companies much larger. So for us, we don't take a portion of the value that goes through the store. A lot of the competitors in the space actually do. And that's something that doesn't sound so bad when you get started, but just like with Amazon, when someone is taking such a high percentage of those dollars, it really is not so good for ultimately a company being able to reinvest into a better forklift so they can operate more efficiency, or robotics, or a larger warehouse. So looking at the macroeconomics of where the dollars are going to be going, I think is important. And look at it, it's a wide open community where a lot of people have started with e-commerce, but never fully put it into their ERP. And we specialize in taking those sites. Some are needing a refresh, some are perfectly fine, and moving it into a platform to enable them to. One of our client's going live this next month is one of the largest makers and sellers of fudge for all of those convenience stores that are higher end or shops in a particular area. They're doing the whole fudge display and allowing their customers to have that buying experience to not only start but then actually grow their businesses. Why they've
Right.
partnered with us, and we're excited to get them launched.
Yeah, that's exciting. So, any other new trends on the horizon? Like, what are you seeing in the future? If you kind of talk to your future self, what are the new things that you think that will come to technology and to e-commerce specifically?
I think overall buyers are becoming more educated and more familiar with things. But overall, the aspect of making a choice, and then it's a choice that has lots of costs with it, down the road, or a choice that isn't really good for their business. Maybe starts with a very low price, but ultimately grows to something that doesn't feel so good. We're seeing a lot more people that know more about e-commerce, that have done their research. They've spent the time
Really?
to
Huh?
go online and learn about us and Shopify and Magento and Dynamic Web. And all of those companies
Yeah.
make great products. But a lot of times what we're seeing are people much more familiar with really what it is that they're looking for, and how we may be a fit for that. It's a challenging economics though for any small business. You
Yeah.
don't have the luxuries of sometimes not being affected by interest rates being higher, or the aspect of consumers and inflation. So what we want to do is actually, just as we've done since 2006, work with somebody and stay with somebody and have a partnership with them, much like the choice of Dynamics as an ERP partnership looks to be with Microsoft as the publisher. That's what we're attempting to do.
Yeah.
To add to, like, from a technology perspective, there is sort of this mock software architecture. We're starting to see the rise of that, and we're adopting many of those types of principles here, where we want modern headless design, we want API first, microservices. We want to continue to grow the technology that we have here and give our customers maximum flexibility on the other sort of ancillary pieces that might go into just a really world-class e-commerce web store, right?
Yeah.
I think we're seeing some more personalization, even on the B2B side of e-commerce, where they're looking for more B2C-like functionality. We were recently talking with a company where they sell kind of a grim product. They're selling headstones, and they're selling B2B and looking for that
Gotta
sort of
have them.
personalizations. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So like we're seeing more features where we're going to be able to manipulate items in the cart, and they're looking for
Yeah.
AR kind of functionality. They'll be able to spin the headstone around and do that kind of stuff.
Right. And do you find, Matt, that you're having to educate people? Like you said, that Jay, that people come to you more educated, but still, are you still educating them about e-commerce and about the differences with the different e-commerce providers, and how you guys can help them be successful?
I think on some of like the technology questions, yes, our customers are significantly more sophisticated than they were
Oh,
even 5 or 6 years ago.
interesting.
I think maybe some of that has to do with our amazing marketing team here, where we provide a ton of really excellent white papers and
Mhm.
all kinds of content for them to consume. And I know a lot of other e-commerce companies are doing the same, and there
Mhm.
is no shortage of podcasts to learn about these kinds of
I
things.
know, right? There's
So
a lot
yeah,
of
yeah.
YouTube videos out there. Yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
Microsoft has a really active channel. I can think
Yeah.
of, just like off the top of my head, like, a couple of Microsoft MVPs who have podcasts and are providing a lot of really great content. And so, yeah, what I've found is, when customers are coming to me, like they are typically doing quite a bit of research beforehand, or it's they already have a B2C web store, and their B2B side of their business is actually the bigger portion of their business, but for some reason they have less technology driving it. So, they might be running a Shopify web store on the front end, but are now looking for B2B, and finding some of those
Yeah.
B2B functionalities missing from something
A
like
little bit of
Shopify
duct
Plus.
tape around the systems to make them
Right,
work together.
right. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
they're good with just running a completely separate web store on our platform.
Okay, awesome. So I guess, guys, in conclusion, I just want to ask you one more question. So, what's the one reason or trend that you're seeing that's driving customers or partners to come talk to you?
Well, as Matt said, that customer is going to go out and search on their own. And the recommendation that we have, and this is true of all of our ERP partners, is don't wait to be asked if there's an e-commerce referral to be made or recommendation, because the customer is going to go and do their research, and what they may come up with may, in some instances, lead to perhaps looking at different ERPs, perhaps losing out the opportunity for the partner to be involved. So we recommend to all partners, don't wait until you're asked about e-commerce. Present it. Talk about what you're seeing, with other mutual customers that we have. We're building a great ecosystem here within the Dynamics community of top-tier partners, both big and small, that are having these early successes with their customers, and then being able to share that. Just 6 months ago, our customer was just like you, looking at e-commerce and maybe evaluating some platforms. Allow us to share a little bit more and being a little more proactive to talk about e-commerce instead of waiting to be asked. That way, an ERP partner does remain front and center for what's going on within a customer's landscape.
Right.
So add to that is I get calls from ERP partners fairly often where their customer has gone off and bought a solution that was perhaps not as well integrated as they'd like. And so the customer comes to them and says, "Oh, can you build the integration from Magento back into my ERP solution?" And there may be customizations that they also have to make inside the ERP. And a lot of the partners that I talk to, they don't have guys sitting on the bench to do ERP development. They are pretty well booked out into the future. And so, nobody likes to disappoint their customer and say, "No, I can't build that right now. It's going to take me 3 to 6 months to get to it." If they had presented us earlier in the process, where our solution is natively integrated into Business Central, we'll save some heartache and some dollars being misspent.
You don't want your client to come to you and say, "Can you spin us a website up by tomorrow or integrate this by next week?" It's never a good conversation.
Everybody's timeline is always yesterday when it comes to when do you want the website live.
Right. You want it live
immediate.
yesterday. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining our ISV Talk session today. And I'm going to share some of your information here. So if people want to reach out to you.
Carol, thanks so much. This has been a lot of fun, and we hope what we've presented had a few little golden nuggets that would be successful for any partners out there.
Yeah, thanks you both for joining today, and super interesting, very interested in the e-commerce space and how it's evolving. And Matt, thanks so much for sharing your insights as well. So, sorry, I meant to get to this one. So thank you for joining our session today on commercebuild and sharing your insights on e-commerce. Here's Matt's contact information. So if you need to reach out to Matt, it's matt@commercebuild.com. And thank you guys for joining today. I appreciate your time and sharing your insights.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for having us. I mean, if anybody would ever like to talk a little bit more about integrated e-commerce, I've got a real passion for this and kind of geek out over this stuff. So, that's my cell phone number. Feel free to give me a call anytime. I'd be happy to talk more about this.
All right. Well, thank you, friends, for joining this episode of ISV Talks, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.
Thanks.